And we are back here, court number 1 for some 6th grade action between the Royal Ballers and Kentucky Premier. It's Jeremy Scott here, flying solo for this one, at least for the time being. So for the Royal Ballers, it will be possessing it. That's Mahaffey. Mahaffey who takes it. She gives it off to number 15, and number 15 is Booth. And Booth is going to give it up, and it will go back to Kentucky Premier now. And that is number 3, Woods. And that's a shot that's up. That's no good. Rebounded by Dean. Dean, number 11, on the rebound. And as soon as the rebound comes down, there's a traveling situation. So it's going to go back to Kentucky Premier. So Kentucky Premier is going to get this ball back. And inbounds it comes. That's a shot that's up. And there was a foul. And let's see who they... That's 14 on Royal Ballers, and that is Mackenzie Dobbenmeyer. So Mackenzie Dobbenmeyer picks up this foul, and stepping up and making the first foul shot for Kentucky Premier, that is Corrine Trammell. So Corrine Trammell makes the first shot. And that shot is good. On the other end, it goes out of bounds. And on the other end, Kentucky Premier pushing the ball down the floor. That is Robinson. Gets the shot up, and that is no good. And taken back by Kentucky Premier with the second shot opportunity. That's up, that's no good. And back outside it comes. That is number 3. And number 3 for Kentucky Premier is Kenley Woods. So Woods playing the point. That's up to number 10. That's Hadley French. And there's a shot that's up, and that is good. That was Robinson, Kia Robinson, for 2. And that makes it 3-0. On the other end, that's going to be taken away by Corrine Trammell. And Kentucky Premier has the ball back underneath the hoop. That's a shot that's up, and that is good. Kia Robinson for 2 more. Makes the score 5-0 very quickly. We'll be back after this timeout right here on GBA TV. And we resume action here at court number 1. There's a tie-up, and that possession arrow will favor Kentucky Premier. So Kentucky Premier, who is up 5-0, is going to inbound this ball. That will be Robinson to do the inbounding. And inbounds it comes underneath the hoop. That is Trammell. Trammell gets another shot at it, and Trammell's going to go back to the line where she is 1 for 2 so far tonight, or I should say this afternoon, and she's going to get a chance to add to this Kentucky Premier 5-0 lead. First shot up, first shot good for Trammell. Trammell's second shot no good, so she's 2 for 4 so far here at the line. And the score is 6-0, and there's another opportunity. Trammell on the board, and she puts it back up. That's no good, and chasing that one down is Woods. Woods, that's to Kia Robinson. Robinson on the drive, puts it up, and she's going to go to the foul line now. So Kaya Robinson, who has 4 points, gets another chance to add some more points to her total. So we're at just under 10 minutes to go. It's 9:59 is what the clock is showing as Kaya Robinson goes to the foul line, and she misses on her first attempt. Robinson back at the line, puts up a shot. No good. So Kaya Robinson 0 for 2 at that trip to the line, but gets the rebound, puts it back up. That's no good. And chasing it down, that is number 3. That is Woods. And there's another shot by Robinson. That's up. That's no good. And it's going towards the out-of-bounds line. Are they able to save it from going out of bounds? Yes, they are, as Woods has it back. Woods on the drive, puts it back up, and Woods is fouled on her way up. So now it's going to be Kenley Woods who gets to go to the line and could add to the 6-0 lead for Kentucky Premier. Kenley Woods puts up a shot, and no good on the first shot. Of course, we have to say thanks to Tom Strasser, Jeff Ferguson, Caleb Graham, all the people helping to make it happen on the administrative end so we can bring you this broadcast as the second shot rattles out for Kenley Woods. So she's 0 for 2 from the line on that trip, but she gets the rebound, and she gets it off to Kaya Robinson. Robinson on the drive. Robinson with a shot. Robinson's shot no good, and that's rebounded by Richards. So Richards for the Royal Ballers. That is Joelle Richards, as on the other end, there is number 22, Sigler, on the shot, and that was knocked out of her hands, and back comes Kentucky Premier now on offense. That is 3 Woods. Woods on the drive. Woods with a shot, no good, and that's taken by Richards. So a couple of defensive rebounds on these last 2 possessions for Richards. And that is Sigler. Looks like there's a line change about to happen here for Kentucky Premier, as on the other end, that is Kenley Woods, who's able to save it from going out of bounds. Woods with a shot, no good, and that's taken by Richards. So 3 straight defensive rebounds for Richards for the Royal Ballers, Joelle Richards. And the score is 6-0. It's still 6-0. It's been 6-0 for quite some time, it seems like. So there's Joelle Richards, and she gives it up. And there's a steal. That's stolen away by Kaya Robinson. Robinson on a 1-on-3 break, and she has it stolen away from her. There's a jump ball, and that's going to go back to the Royal Ballers. So the Royal Ballers get the ball back. The Ballers, who...
Scoreboard up now. Let me check it.
On the other end here, we got Joelle Richards, who has it. Gives up to Mahaffey. Mahaffey is going to pull it back outside. And there's a shot that's up, and it rims out, and it's going to remain on this end off of Kentucky Premier. It remains Royal Ballers ball. Inbounds it comes. And outside, there's a shot that's up, and that one's no good, taken by Carter. Carter on the offensive rebound. She gives it off. And that is Heil. Gives it off to Richards. That's no good, and that's rebounded by Kentucky Premier. So Kentucky Premier on the rebound. And that is number 23, Stevens, who has it. And she gives it out to French. French. Back to French. Puts it up, no good. And there's a jump ball, and that's going to favor Kentucky Premier. So that remains on this end. That's going to remain on this end for Kentucky Premier. With 7:32 to go here in this opening half. Jeremy Scott here, court number 1 at Dublin Jerome High School in Columbus. I should say just outside of Columbus. And that is French, who's able to save it from going past that timeline. There's a pass underneath the basket to 00 Hurt, and Hurt got fouled on her way up, and she's now going to step up to the line, and she is going to shoot 2. Devin Hurt. who so far is scoreless in this ball game. Hurt puts up her first shot, and it's no good. Bounces away. So Hurt's second shot falls, so that is good. And it is now a 7-0 lead for Kentucky Premier over the Royal Ballers. Booth gonna take a long shot. That one no good, and it's rebounded by number 23, Stevens. So Stevens on the rebound. She gives it up to French. French drives it into the lane, and she's gonna get fouled on her way up. And so that will be Hadley French going to the line, and Hadley French will shoot 2 free throws, and that foul on number 5, Joelle Richards for the Royal Ballers. So Hadley French at the foul line. First shot is up, and that's going to be short. I can pretty much tell that as soon as it left her hand. It just didn't look like it had the rotation that it needed to get there. As checking into the ballgame will be Daubenmeyer for the Royal Ballers. Mackenzie Daubenmeyer. As French's second shot falls. That one is good. So 1 for 2 from the line for Hadley French. Makes the score 8-0 Kentucky Premier over the Royal Ballers. Mahaffey at play in the point. Gives it up into the corner. And Heil. She gives it up to Sigler. Sigler up at the top. Guarded pretty closely by French. Gives up to Mahaffey. Mahaffey on the drive. Mahaffey on the pass. That is up, and that one falls. So Daubenmeyer is the one to stop the bleeding for the Royal Ballers and put them on the scoreboard 8-2. Underneath, that is Hurt, and Hurt had it knocked away from her. And they're going to say that it wasn't all ball that defender got. There was a foul, and so Devin Hurt will step back up to the free throw line where she is 1 for 2 so far this afternoon. Hurt misses on her first free throw attempt just like last time. She missed the front end, made the second. We'll see if she is able to get a repeat performance here as Daubenmeyer is going to check out for the Royal Ballers. And number 11, Dean, checks in. And there's a shot. That is no good. So Hurt 1 for 4 on the afternoon from the line as the Ballers are pushing the ball back down the floor. That one's tipped out of bounds by Kentucky Premier. Going to remain on this end. As there's a substitution happening here. That will be Woods checking in for Kentucky Premier. Sitting will be French. So Kenley Woods in, Hadley French out. And it looks like we've got Gabby Curtis getting set to check back in. There's a pass underneath to Mahaffey. She puts it up and in. Nice shot there by Danica Mahaffey to make the score 8-4. Woods, guarded by Heil. Woods splits the double team. Woods puts it up and no good. Almost got that one to fall. Would have been a nice bucket to make, and that one goes in. That's 2 for Stevens. 10-4 the score. Nice rebound and putback by Sophie Stevens. That's Mahaffey. Bringing the ball down, putting it up. That's no good. That's rebounded by Woods. Kenley Woods with an outlet pass. Up top, that one's up, and that one falls. That one is good. That one was Bildock. Puts that one up and in to make the score 12-4. So Alexa Baldock. And on the other end comes Kentucky Premier. Woods, coast to coast, and one. Kenley Woods makes the lay-in and one. The score 14-4. Kentucky Premier with a 10-point advantage over the Royal Ballers, and Kenley Woods could make it 11. As checking into the ball game, I should say, for the first time, Gabby Curtis, and taking a seat will be number 21, Taylon Statham Ralston. Woods converts on the free throw. That is her first made free throw. She is 1 for 3, but the score 15-4. And We are just a shade over 5 minutes to go in the opening half. Sigler passes it off. That's stolen away by Woods. Woods with some nice defense there. Open lane to the bucket. Puts it up and in. And timeout is going to be called by the Ballers. The Royal Ballers are going to call a timeout, so we'll go ahead and take it with them with 5:05 to go here in the opening half. You're watching this game right here on GBA TV. We're back here, court number 1 at Dublin Durham High School. Jeremy Scott here calling this one between Kentucky Premier and Royal Ballers. Out of the Ballers timeout, that is Sigler who controls. Sigler trapped in the corner. Able to find Dean? No, she's not, because that's stolen away by French. No, that was not French, that was Hurt actually. And underneath the hoop, up and in, that's Gabby Curtis putting in 2 more for Kentucky Premier. 19-4 the score. On the other end, that one's a little bit too tall for the intended receiver, Heil, and that's taken away by Woods. So Kenley Woods gets the ball back for Kentucky Premier. Over to Hurt it comes. Back it comes to Woods on the outside. She's going to reset everything. She's just going to call a motion. Got the call coming over here from the Kentucky Premier sideline. She's going to allow the play to develop. That's to Baldock. Over it comes. There's a runner that's no good. That's Stevens. Sophie Stevens not able to convert on the runner. And Sophie Stevens gets the ball back, and she's fouled underneath the hoop in the high post. And that's 11 Dean. That foul on Dean. Delaney Dean. As Sophie Stevens steps to the line and is not able to knock down her first free throw. And there's a line change for Kentucky Premier. Everybody, of course, except Sophie Stevens, who is shooting this second free throw. And it looks like one of the Royal Ballers players is hurt. It looks like Dean is hurt. Delaney Dean is checked out of the ball game. So we'll keep an eye on that, as that second free throw is no good. And being that it didn't hit the rim, it's going to automatically go back to the Royal Ballers. So Sophie Stevens 0 for 2, that trip to the line, as she will check out of the ball game now. That's Sigler. Sigler gives it up to Carter. Avery Carter gives it back to Richards, Joelle Richards at the top. And that's a 3-second violation. 3-second violation on the Royal Ballers. So it's going to come back to Kentucky Premier. 3:40 and winding on this first half clock. It's Dye. Jalen Dye. She gives it up. There's a layup, and it is good. That is Kaya Robinson for 2. 21-4. That's Sigler playing the point, controlling the ball for the Royal Ballers. And that's stolen away by Trammell. Corinne Trammell, who drew first blood for either side, and that's Kaya Robinson on the shot, and that's no good. Underneath, and back outside it goes. That's going to be a 3-point attempt. That is up. That's no good. Rebounded by Trammell. Trammell with a putback. No good. Trammell with another opportunity out of Trammell. That time is good. So Corinne Trammell makes it 23-4 in favor of her Kentucky Premier. Losing it is Sigler, and that is Kentucky Premier taking the ball back down to the other end, putting it up and putting it in there. That is Dye. Jalen Dye for 2, makes it 25-4. And that's Sigler giving it up to Trammell. To Dye, Jalen Dye. She's got Heil on her. Outside shot, that one is no good. Little bit strong. And then it's stolen right back by the shooter. That's French. French on the drive with a layup. That is in. Hadley French, 27-4. Good job by her to not give up on that play. There's a pass that's over the head of Richards, and that's an over and back, excuse me. And a few substitutions to speak of. Mahaffey checks in, Booth checks in, Heil sits, Carter sits. And it looks like Hadley is going to sit and Flynn is going to check in. Jesselyn Flynn is going to see her first action. Hadley French will sit and Jesselyn Flynn will check in. Inbounds pass. Into the corner it comes, and having a little bit of trouble with that. I think she would have had a wide open three look, but instead she passes inside, and on the drive, that's up no good. And the shooter gets her shot back, and she passes it outside. So nice look there by Kentucky Premier to keep this possession alive. Up top to Baldock. That's Trammell. Trammell on the drive, dishes outside. Wide open three look, no good. And it's rebounded by Booth. So the Ballers have it back. Booth pushing the ball down the floor. Booth past the timeline. Booth, jump stop, shot up, no good. Bank shot off the back of the rim and out of bounds it goes. So it went off the backboard, hit the rim, bounced out of bounds off of a Kentucky Premier player, and so it will be blue ball. It will be Royal Ballers with possession of this. That's Booth. Booth on the drive at the elbow with the shot, and Booth is going to step up to the foul line for a couple of free throws. Booth is Megan Booth, number 15. As Booth's first shot falls. And that ends a long scoring drought for the Royal Ballers. 27-5. As Booth is long on the second free throw, and Kentucky Premier rebounds it. On the other end, that's a shot that's up, and that is no good for Flynn, and it's rebounded by the Ballers. So the Ballers pushing the ball back down the floor. On that side, that's Sigler with the shot. That's up and that's short, and it goes out of bounds. I do believe that's off of Corinne Trammell. And that's actually going to do it for the first half. So with that being the case, the score 27-5. We'll be back with the second half right here on GBA TV.
This is Tom Strasser from GBA TV Studios at the 14th Annual Celtic Classic here at Dublin Jerome. And you're watching GBA TV on Facebook and YouTube, where you are watching over 20 hours of live streaming games as well as interviews from players and coaches here at the Celtic Classic. This is Tom Strasser from GBA TV Studios at the 14th Annual Celtic Classic here at Dublin Jerome. And you're watching GBA TV on Facebook and YouTube, where you are watching over 20 hours of live streaming games as well as interviews from players and coaches here at the Celtic Classic. This is Tom Strasser from GBA TV Studios at the 14th Annual Celtic Classic here at Dublin Jerome. And you're watching GBA TV on Facebook and YouTube, where you are watching over 20 hours of live streaming games as well as interviews from players and coaches here at the Celtic Classic. This is Tom Strasser from GBA TV Studios at the 14th Annual Celtic Classic here at Dublin Jerome. And you're watching GBA TV on Facebook and YouTube, where you are watching over 20 hours of live streaming games as well as interviews from players and coaches here at the Celtic Classic.
And back here at Dublin Jerome High School with the score 27-5 at Court 1. Kentucky Premier against the Royal Ballers. Premier leads the Ballers, who get the ball to begin this second half of play. It's Jeremy Scott here at the commentary table, being joined by Kayla Cazell on camera. Almost having to solo away on the Ballers, but underneath it's Ziegler, and Ziegler puts it up and in. So the Royal Ballers, after finding scoring pretty hard there during that first half, get a quick bucket here to begin the second. 27-7 the score. Inside it comes, up and in. That's Hurt, answering pretty quickly for Kentucky Premier to make the score 29-7. That's Mahaffey. Mahaffey to the baseline, and then loses it out of bounds, and it will go off of Mahaffey and back to the Royal Ball. I'm sorry, back to Kentucky Premier. Playing the point will be Woods, Kenley Woods, who had 5 points in that first half. Inside, that's Woods with a shot. That's up and good. Kenley Woods with a nice jump shot to make the score 31-7, Kentucky Premier. Mahaffey. Over to Ziegler on the elbow. Ziegler loses control of it, jump ball, and this is going to go to Kentucky Premier. That's going to be Kenley Woods playing the point, bringing the ball down the floor, runs into her own teammate, Curtis. That could have been really disastrous, but thankfully it wasn't. And into the low post it goes, kind of a dangerous pass there, and it gets away from the intended receiver, Hurt, and this one's going to go back to the Royal Ballers off the tie-up. So about 2 minutes gone by here in the second half of this one. 31-7 the score as Mahaffey drives it. And she's on the baseline, pass outside to Booth. That's a three-point attempt short, and Booth is going to be able to chase this one down in the backcourt. Over it comes to Ziegler. Ziegler on the drive, and she's going to pull it outside to the right wing. She gives up to number 14, Dobbenmeyer. Dobbenmeyer with a shot. That's no good. Gets her own rebound. No, she doesn't. It goes out of bounds and off of Dobbenmeyer. No, it's going to go off of Kentucky Premier, so it will remain Royal Ballers ball. Inbounds it comes to Dean. Dean with it. Gives it to Ziegler. Into the corner. That's Booth. Booth with a jump stop and shot. Good shot there from the short corner. And that makes the score 31-9. And Megan Booth with 3 points. Woods with Mahaffey on her. That's a shot by Robinson that rims in there. So Kaya Robinson with 8. 33-9 the score now. Kentucky Premier with a 24-point advantage over the Ballers. to Sigler. She has that one blocked, and back comes Kentucky Premier on offense, and then it's stolen away by the Ballers. That's Mahaffey on the steal. She gives up to Dobbenmeyer. Dobbenmeyer underneath, and she's going to go to the foul line, and she's going to shoot two. Good job there by Mackenzie Dobbenmeyer to corral that pass and get a good look at that bucket. Didn't get the ball to fall, but she is going to go to the line, and she is going to attempt 2 free throws.
That's all right, Dad. You're back. Hey, listen. Hey, listen to me. She's shooting two.
Dobbenmeyer has 2 points so far this afternoon. And that one rims out on her. No good.
I don't care about the basketball right now. One led to a layup.
Carter and Heil check in
Take care of the ball.
as Sigler and I couldn't see who the other one was to check out. But Dobbenmeyer shot. That one falls for her. So the score 33-10. As Woods pushes the ball up and in the lane, she loses it and out of bounds it goes, but they're going to say it was off of a Royal Baller, so it will be on this end. Stevens to inbound, Sophie Stevens.
Hey, take a step to your left. Go in the middle, Stay down.
And that is Kenley Woods playing the point, guarded by Mahaffey. Over comes to Stevens, and Stevens walks with it, so Sophie Stevens called with a travel. Gives the ball back to the Royal Ballers, and line change for Kentucky Premier Dodrill, as well as Richards check in for the Royal Ballers. Wynn Dodrill, number 6, and number 5, Joelle Richards. Up top to Mahaffey. Into the corner. That's a shot by Heil. That's up and that's short, and it's rebounded by number 51, Flynn. And outlet pass comes to French. French, 1-on-3, has the ball knocked away from her from behind. Nice job there by Joelle Richards to get back on defense and swat that ball out of bounds and away. And it will go out of bounds. It will remain Kentucky Premier ball. Oh, okay, there was a foul. I'm sorry. I said that it was good defense. Actually, it was a foul. It was a foul on Mahaffey. So Mahaffey called with the foul, and so French will be stepping to the line and missing on the first foul attempt. Hadley French has 3 points and is not able to get a fourth there. And there's a rebound on the offensive side by Kentucky Premier, but stepping out of bounds with it will be French, so it'll go back to the Royal Ballers. Mahaffey over to Heil, to Carter, into the right corner of Mahaffey, who falls down with it, and it's knocked out of bounds and away from Mahaffey. And that was Baldock. And a timeout is called by Kentucky Premier and that sideline. So we'll go ahead and take it with them. With 6:54 to go here in the second half, the score 33-10. You're watching GAB TV. (33-10) is the score. Kentucky Premier with this big advantage over the Royal Ballers. Underneath it comes, and that is stolen away by Trammell. Pushing the ball back up the floor. That's Kentucky Premier, and it's stolen away by Carter. So Carter gets it back for the Royal Ballers. And that's Mahaffey. Gives it off to Carter, and that's going to be almost stolen away again by Kentucky Premier, but Mahaffey's able to get the ball back and underneath. And there's a pass to the short corner. That's a shot, and that's going to hit the top of the backboard. No call, though. I thought there would have been an out-of-bounds call, but no call. Kentucky Premier gets the ball back, and they're pushing the ball down the floor. That's French with a lay-in, and that is good. Hadley French makes the score 35-10. Mahaffey into the corner. And she almost gets tied up, but nope, she's going to get called for a travel. She, I think, is a little frustrated with herself there. And in a game like this, I can definitely understand that because she kind of rolled her eyes after she was called with that travel. And I think she was more upset with herself than anybody else. But with that being the case, it will go back to Kentucky Premier. French brings the ball to the floor, gets a call from the sideline. She gives it off to Flynn. Flynn on the drive, lay in, good. A nice little floater there by Jesselyn Flynn. Score 37-10. That's Dodrell. She gives it up to Heil. Back it comes to Carter on the right wing. And at the foul line, that's Dean who loses it, and it comes back to KY Premier. Kentucky Premier with the ball. Bring the ball down the floor, laying it up, laying it in there. That is Baldock. She's got 4, and the score 39-10. In the left corner, that is Heil. Heil trapped there, and she gives it up to Carter. Carter able to give it back up to Dodrell, to Dean. She takes a long shot. That's off the backboard, and back it comes to KY Premier. Kentucky Premier pushing the ball down the floor, and that's stolen away by Carter. Carter gets it back for the Ballers. Royal Ballers with it. That's Dodrell. Dodrell gives it up, and that's Heil. Heil's going to bring it back up to the top. On the left wing, that's Carter. At the elbow. Backing in is Daubenmeyer, and then a short corner shot. That is up, and that is no good, and that is rebounded by number 5, Baldock. There they come back down the floor. KY Premier, Kentucky Premier with the ball. And underneath, nice pass there. That is up, and that's no good for Flynn. And it's taken back by Carter. Royal Ballers now pushing the ball back down the floor. Dodrell's going to play the point on this one. Into the right corner. There's number 7, Heil. And she has it knocked out of her hands by Trammell. And behind the back dribble by French. Nice look there by French. Lay in good. She's got 7. 41-10 is now the score, and pretty much a line change here for KY Premier. Kentucky Premier after that nice shot by French. The nice little behind the back ball handle move there. And the lay-in, that was good. 41-10 is the score. It's Jeremy Scott here. Don't forget, you can go back and you can watch all the previous broadcasts that we've had today on GBA TV, both on the Facebook page and also on the YouTube channel as well. For those who weren't able to quite make it out for this particular tournament, you're missing a good one. And this game right here, Kentucky Premier 41, Royal Ballers 10. Kentucky Premier, of course, one of these teams that kind of an all-star assembly out of Kentucky. Royal Ballers from the Chillicothe area, Chillicothe, Athens, Nelsonville, Logan, that particular part of our great state of Ohio. So always interesting to me whenever I do a tournament like this to find out what school or what region these teams are from. As we resume action, the Royal Ballers with Megan Booth bringing the ball down the floor, playing the point for the Ballers. On the left wing, that is Heil. Heil gives the ball to Dodrell. Dodrell in the low post, puts it up, that's no good, and that's rebounded by Curtis. Gabby Curtis grabs that one, pushing the ball back down the floor, a little bit ahead, and putting it up, and not quite able to make it happen is Dye, and the Royal Ballers get the ball back. That is Heil. Kentucky Premier switches into a 2-3, and there's a loose ball, and that tie-up is going to favor Blue, so it will remain Royal Ballers ball. And the clock continues to run per the rule. And Mahaffey checks in, and checking out will be Heil. And that is Dye playing the point. Gives up to Woods. And inside in the low post, excuse me. And losing control of that ball was Hurt. So Dodrell has it now for the Royal Ballers. Dodrell pushed the ball down the floor into the left corner, has it knocked out of her hands, and it will remain Royal Ballers ball. We're at 2.5 and winding on this clock. And inbounds by Dodrell, and it's stolen away. That's Gabby Curtis on the steal, pushing the ball down the floor. Hurt has it. Hurt on the drive with the layup. That's no good. Rebounded by Mahaffey, and it's taken out of her hands, and that is taken by Stevens. Sophie Stevens with some nice defense there. There's a shot by Kentucky Premier. That's no good. And a couple of players fighting for it, and it's going to go out of bounds and off of the Royal Ballers, so the ball will remain at this end. As checking back into the ball game will be Richards for Royal Ballers. Nope, they're going to call a timeout, so there's going to be a full timeout called instead of a substitution. So there's the timeout signal, and we'll go ahead and take it with them right here on GBA TV. We resume gameplay here with Kentucky Premier on offense and a big lead with a little under 2 minutes to play. Hurt in the low post, spins, no good, gets her own shot. And it's going to remain at this end, as it will be Sophie Stevens inbounding, and she does to Woods. Kenley Woods. There's a shot, that is up, and it goes in there. That's a nice looking shot there on the part of Dye, and that one was a three-pointer to make the score 44-10. Kentucky Premier up big. Shot by Sigler, that is long off the back of the iron, and it's chased down by Mahaffey. Mahaffey, after she got that rebound, is called with a travel. So back it comes now to Kentucky Premier. Royal Ballers not able to convert on that possession. As checking out of the game, probably for the last time today, Woods, and Kaya Robinson checks in. There's a corner shot, that is up and that is in there. And that's a two-pointer for Hurt, making the score 46-10. Chasing the ball down to Sigler before it goes out of bounds. Sigler on the outside. She's being defended by Kaya Robinson. Gives it up to Mahaffey. Mahaffey baseline. Mahaffey trapped on that baseline. Gives it up. Puts it up. No good by Daubenmeier. And that is rebounded by Stevens. So Gabby Curtis. And on the other end, that is Stevens. And Stevens gets fouled on her way up. So Sophie Stevens will now step to the line. And she will be shooting two. And that foul on Mahaffey. Danica Mahaffey on the foul. Sophie Stevens getting set to shoot two. That shot no good for Stevens. Megan Booth getting ready to check back in for Royal Ballers. And she checks in for number 14, Daubenmeier. And Heil checks in as Richards checks out. There's the shot, and it banks in there for Sophie Stevens. So Stevens goes 1 for 2 on that trip to the line. 47-10 the score, and that will do it. That will be the final whistle, and that will be how this one ends, with Kentucky Premier taking this one pretty handily over the Royal Ballers, 47-10. Of course, we've got action all day long right here on GBA TV, and we will be back with more.